What's up, guys? Welcome to today's live stream, Monday morning. Now, I know it's not technically Christmas time anymore, but let's keep the holiday spirit going a little longer. What do you guys think is too is too far into January to have a Christmas tree in the background? Or should I just keep it here all year? What do you guys think? If you think it's a good idea for me to keep this tree up all year, put a 1 in the chat. Technically Christmas time anymore. All right, there's a delay. Let's see what we got. All right, guys. So today's live stream, we're kind of changing up the timing on this. And today, there was a product that I wanted to give you guys today, but the team, it's not exactly where I want it to be. And so instead, we'll do a Q&A, and we'll take any questions you guys have about the platform, the launch, what we're building, what we're working on. And if you guys don't have any questions about the product, then we'll do trivia. We'll do get people's hot takes on how I set up my office for Q1, whether we should keep the Christmas tree up or not. I know at least one person says keep the Christmas tree up, which I love. Christmas trees are awesome. But guys, like I said, pop in the chat if you guys have any questions about any of the launches, any of the products. Let me also get Arman in with us. Arman, I don't know if they can see you here yet.
Hello, hello.
Ho, ho, ho. What's up, Santa?
Not much, dude. Happy New Year, everyone. Great to be back.
It's good to be back. Okay. All right, these guys are going to watch as I figure out how to use Ecamm Live for this. Okay. Arman, how did we do it before? It was like, okay, you're here. All right, that's you. And where am I? All right. Almost.
It's a good question.
Why does it say guest 6 in the middle? Remove. All right, let's try it again. All right, Arman, you're in the shot, but you're too far on the left. Could you
screw myself over here?
Yeah, there we go. A little better.
Beautiful.
All right. Happy New Year, guys. Welcome. We did it. Man. Arman, what are you most excited about for the new year?
Honestly, man, I'm super excited about the products that we've been launching and the market segment that it's really opening up for us, right? Because I think a lot of the pain points or frustration people have with Search Atlas when they first sign up for it is that it's too complicated. There's too many things to do. There's too many tools. I don't know where this tool is. I don't know how to do this thing. And, I don't blame them. It's what, 60, 70 individual products and all these different very specific workflows that unless you really know the ecosystem and where every tool lives, it's really hard to immediately go there and find this is what I want to work on. This is how I get value out of this thing. So the fact that the agents exist and can run and orchestrate and execute all of these different workflows, it makes the platform more accessible to literally anyone, whether they have never done SEO a day in their life or they're seasoned pros that know exactly what they want to do. So compressing that time to value to me is like the most exciting thing. And I'm really just, I really just want to see how that shakes out into the new users and the existing users that are interacting with the system.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, well said. I think that has been one of the hardest parts of adopting the Search Atlas platform is that it's a really powerful growth system. And to install all the pieces and then operate them used to be something that would require quite a bit of training. You remember when we ran some of our live events and we're teaching people in these workshops how to use the tools, we would
Yeah.
spend an entire day teaching content, and that's going into
Yeah.
content genius and how to use it and then how to publish with it and the topical map tool and then the domain knowledge network. It was a lot.
Exactly.
And now,
Yeah.
if I'm not like wrong, in the last challenge, we did that entire set of systems plus more in one day. And we could have gone even faster because now you're able to move at the speed of your
Yeah.
language and what you can think about rather than the UI, click, 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 all the stuff that you had to do before. So, yeah, that is a
Yeah.
huge game changer.
That's exactly right. And even if you're in, a lifelong Search Atlas user and you know the ins and outs of it, sometimes you still forget, oh, I forgot to update that setting or check that box or use that semantic refiner or whatever it is. But now it's like the agents just got your back. So, yeah, I mean, I use the agents now more than anything. Like I don't actually press any buttons anymore. I literally just have dictate mode on and I'm just like, okay, what's my portfolio looking like? How's this client doing? How's this account tracking in LLMs, right? All these different things. And the agents just give me quick, consistent feedback. And it's honestly great.
It's a game changer for sure. I've been using it to help run parts of the Search Atlas SEO campaigns. And what really impresses me is how, as fast as I can think about what I want to work on, is almost how fast I can go. Yeah, the agent needs to do some processing, it needs to gather data and, do its work so it can actually get through the execution stages. But just the speed at which I'm able to operate and run the SEO campaigns is insane. Just being able to create like 20 backlinks, that used to be what would take like a VA almost like an entire day. Like that was their task, or
Yeah.
maybe an afternoon. Now it's just an aside. Like I can run that while I'm talking to you. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think's really interesting for me is like it's training and flexing a muscle for me that was definitely underutilized, which is just prompt architecture, prompt engineering, right? Like literally over the weekend, I was working on this content revision agent, right? Where it's like scanning the website, looking at all pages, which pieces of content are underperforming, which ones need to be revamped. Why did they need to be revamped? Explain the confidence interval, break all, and literally it's turned into like a 5-page multi-phase playbook that I'm like using my own workflow. I'm using some of our team's process docs and I'm building and stitching together this playbook. But every time I come up with a new prompt, I'm testing its output to see, did something break? Did something, not function the way I intended to? Did it skip a step that I needed actually user approval on? So in addition to making my workflow easier, it's making me a better AI marketer just generally of how I use AI for any different application, even outside of the context of Search Atlas. And I think that's really important for the direction our world is going over the next, couple months.
Yeah, for sure. And the big thing for me that I've kind of struggled with is like how much automation, how much autonomy do I want to let the agent have versus how much control do I want to take? And it's for me it's the same way like when I'm hiring people onto my team. In the beginning I give them this much rope and then I give them a little bit more and then a little bit more, a little bit more, right? As I
Mhm.
as I trust them and as I can see they can handle it, then they get more. And I think that's the same way that we have to work with these agents. In the beginning we want to go into give them as little autonomy as possible while they're still useful and slowly give them greater and greater amounts as we feel more confident about their behavior and how they're working. And some of that is a technological thing where we're improving the technology so we can give them more autonomy.
Mhm.
And some of it is also personal, like you personally. And
Yeah.
I talked to Eric Caldwell about this. We were talking. He was sending me some information about like how his experience has shifted using the technology. What he told me was that originally he was being very prescriptive and really telling it exactly what he wanted it to do. And as he got more comfortable with it, he started shifting more to just letting it be autonomous and letting it make the
Mhm.
choices. And I was looking at one of his chats this thing was massive. It was so big that it was like breaking his Chrome. That's literally how long his chat history was with it. He spent like
Yeah.
many days just basically doing on-page optimization. And through that process, he was able to fully fix the site, the technical SEO on the website, all the way, the content issues, everything he was able to get resolved. But when you read through the chat, essentially it was him prompting and asking questions that someone who is doing on-page optimization and knows what they're doing would be asking, right?
Right.
So it requires to use it that way, you asking it and answering it and kind of guiding the process. But do we need that, right? Can we actually pull away a little bit and say, let the agent make the choices, let it run the technical SEO campaigns. It already has all the training. It already knows how to do everything. It already knows our business. So let's let it make those choices more autonomously, and maybe certain types of decisions like publishing content or buying links or whatever, then ask. But otherwise, just evergreen, get to work. Like, get useful things done on all my projects, and whatever I can run safely without breaking anything, I should enable all of that, let that go, and then some of the more complex stuff, right? Step into that. So that's, I think, where we're going to be going with this. We have something coming for February for the challenge that we'll run, and it's called AgentSpace, and essentially it's essentially the glue that's going to connect these pieces together so we can run these agents in an autonomous system, while also giving you visual controls so you can see how the behavior works, and even flowcharts and workflows and diagrams and stuff you can build on top of and hack on. So I think that'll be really big. Just letting you guys know that's coming. We will do like a live announcing it and a whole challenge around it. But that's something I think you guys should be really excited about. It's going to be a big, big launch.
Agreed. There are a couple things that you touched on there, Manick, that I think are actually quite important. Like, I definitely agree with you. When we first rolled out the agents, even testing them, I was like, before you do anything, just ask me, right? And I had this constant feedback loop of like the human in the loop conversation with the agent. But after I worked through like 10 websites, I was like, okay, this title tags, metas, alt image, don't ask me. You're doing great. You know what I mean? And the things that I did not want the system to override were on-page content for like landing pages or location pages. And I didn't want it to just blow my hyperdrive credits based off the most aggressive strategy that I recommended, especially when I was working on, let's say, Search Atlas. Obviously, it's a very competitive website, very competitive industry. So the aggressive package for the agent is tens of thousands of dollars, which we don't mind spending, but I didn't want to just give it freedom to spend 10K a month without me even looking at it, right?
Yeah.
But I think even the content piece of it, not to let the cat out of the bag too early, but the BrandVault that is going to be released in sometime in the near future, that to me is the piece that's going to allow me to be 100%, hey, you don't need my input now because you have this vault that is already trained on my company. So now you can produce content without me second guessing it. So I think that's the piece that's really going to increase just let the AI do its job.
Yeah. The BrandVault, for those that are unfamiliar with the last challenge and what we were doing there, is it basically allows you to bring in all the context that's needed to really understand a business into the agent's brain. And it gets this information from multiple sources. One is the crawl that we do of your site. So already when we run the site auditor as well, we're crawling the website. We have all your information. So that's used to train the model. But also we have your chats. So all of the chats that you've given and you've put instructions about your campaign and your likes and dislikes, that also goes into the BrandVault. We also have your first party data, your Google Search Console data, your GA4 data. That's going to the BrandVault as well. And you can add in PDFs, you can add in other documents, you can add in those manual sources. We actually developed it because one of the clients we were working with, they're a large multinational company. I'm not going to say who. Large multinational. This is a different one than the plumbing one. And what these guys had, I think it was a clinic, right? They were a clinical operator all across the United States,
Mhm.
and each clinic
They're
was
in the
different.
addiction space, yeah.
In the addiction space, cool. So each clinic different, and so the challenge is when you're managing a site like that, knowing, okay, the clinic in Miami versus the one in New York City versus the one in California, what services do they offer? What time are they open? What is the cost of those services? If I'm going to make supplemental content around this location, what should I make it about so that it's relevant and connects back to what that location actually does and specializes in? Because that's what they want to rank for. So to do that, the way that this was done previously was you just take a whole bunch of data around the website and you try to train it into the LLM, a custom LLM. But that doesn't work well at all for this. It causes terrible hallucinations. And so what we figured out was how to build a semantic search engine around the business. So that BrandVault is nothing but a semantic search engine around you and all of your data. You can put in whatever data you want into it, but we will use that as like a search engine for your content. And we will ask it questions when we're generating an article to find out what services does this particular location offer, and who is the master technician on site, and who is the owner, and all that information is actually being extracted from the semantic search engine that's being built for you and your website to make the content better. And the initial experiments with this, like the team, they were like, this is 99.9% perfect. Like it was that good. It made such a huge impact on the quality that the team was just like, wow, I can't believe that we got it to this level. So I'm excited for us to roll that out. The BrandVault is gonna come first. We already have the system working. Now we're just building these semantic search engines for literally every project in the system. And that's a lot of data. Yeah, it's also kind of expensive. So we have to do that first, and then we can roll it out to give it to you guys. So that's what's going on behind the scenes. If anyone was curious and wants to try it out and see how it affects their content generation, you guys can reach out to us on School and let us know, and we can enable it for a couple accounts, maybe 5 to 10 people max, and get some feedback from you guys. So if you're interested in using BrandVault right now for content generation, just let us know. All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a couple questions. So Rizard, I hope I said your name right, my friend. Rizard is asking, can I use Search Atlas to find leads? I'm assuming leads for his marketing agency. Arman, what would you tell him?
Yeah, so I would say absolutely. I would say you should run what's known as a prospecting playbook inside of Search Atlas. So if you were on our AI Search Summit, you would have got the masterclass of how to do this. If you were not on our Search Summit, it's okay. You can still use that playbook inside of Search Atlas. So you'd have to essentially create a project, select use the Atlas brain, and then use a playbook called prospecting. And it's going to be, there's 2 in there. I share my screen, Manick. I just think you need to promote my screen here. Cool.
Oh, there it is.
Perfect.
But they can't
so yeah, you would actually, so you would initiate the agent. You'd go to all playbooks and then just search for prospecting, and you'll see 2 prospecting playbooks. One is the local business prospecting playbook, and one is prospecting, but just not for a local business, right? So it depends on what your agency is. You would pick either one of those. Here's like a chat conversation for what this actually looks like. So it finds the URLs, it enriches them with their contact information, it localizes it, it builds the 3-step email sequence, adds data to that email sequence, writes all of the copy for you, allows you to prove it, and then you literally just hit the go button, right? So this is an interactive workflow that is tied to our digital PR tool, which would be down over here. So there is a dependency here, meaning that you have to connect and inbox. So that way the emails can be sent from you or from your agency domain to make sure that there's that connection between who the person is emailing and the brand that's pitching them the services, right? But yeah, it's actually super easy. You'd literally just hit Atlas Brain. You'd say, I want to choose, this project. You'd go into playbooks, just search for prospecting, and then initiate the local business prospecting or just a prospecting playbook. You can edit this, you can modify it, add more email sequences, modify the copy, things like that. But it's actually super easy to do prospecting.
That was easy.
Inside of Search Atlas.
So easy. Really, really easy. So run that. And what's important there is you want to put in enough keywords so that it can find enough prospects for you. So it's going to use Google search to find businesses that are ranking that you can then prospect in email. So depending on what your niche is or what your local, if you're locally focused, however you approach it, you'll be able to find the right type of leads for your business, reach out to them. And we've used this very successfully for ourselves as well. I mean, the last challenge, I think we presented like 3 or 4 case studies of that.
Yeah, because that workflow can be used for business prospecting, but also for publication or PR prospecting purposes, right? Really, all you're doing is changing the messaging and the target audience. But the fundamental system powered by the AI agents can be used for various types of outreach or prospecting, if you will.
Cool. Let's answer this other question, which is the Search Atlas LLM AEO GEO visibility offering. How does our product position relative to the market? This is a good question. So there's a lot of layers to it. I can start, and then Arman, you can continue. But the first level of it is that tracking your visibility in LLMs, it's an expensive thing to do. To track it using good software, it's not going to be cheap for you. And so what we wanted to do is build all the advanced capabilities into the platform and give you guys more quotas and more credits and just be more generous with it than all the other vendors out there in the space. So one of the things that we do is when you set up a project, we have our own prompts that we create so we can analyze the project in multiple dimensions from its LM visibility. And we don't charge you for that. I think you get like 25 or 30 that we just analyze and process. So for any project that you set up, you automatically get free prompts to track, right? And we do that automatically for you. On top of that, you can add your own prompts to whatever you want to track. And from a quota perspective, you get a lot, like way, 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 way more. I think it's like 3x, 4x more, the quota. So that's important. The other thing that's important is to create your prompts to track the LM visibility. These other tools, frankly, suck. Like you have to put your prompts in by hand, one by one, load them in. And then if you miss something or you forget something, or if you don't know what prompts to track, if you don't have the framework, then what are you going to do? You're going to go and come up with stuff off the top of your head. And we taught an entire day dedicated to LM visibility and guided inquiry as a framework for getting found more inside LLMs. You would have to go and recreate that framework inside the LLMs or these other tools, which you could, but it's not a lot of fun. Alternatively, what you could do is just hit the playbook that we created for you for this purpose, and it will use your business, your products, your offerings to figure out what prompts to track, plug them into the system for you agentically. So you literally have to press one play button, review its outputs, and just you're good to go. And now you're getting LLM visibility tracking set up for you. We can also look at the pricing page and show you guys the pricing options, how that works inside the platform. That might be a good thing to show them, Arman.
Yeah. And, just to reiterate one of the points that you made there is like a lot of the other tools that are in the LLM space, they know that it's the hot topic right now, right? Like everyone wants it, everyone needs it, everyone's curious about it. But they also know that no one really knows how to price it. No one really knows what's fair from a pricing perspective. So a lot of these platforms are definitely overinflating the pricing. and they're treating everything as like it's an add-on to your existing subscription of, right? So like you're already paying $400 for your platform, and now you want AI visibility. Well, it's another $400 or it's another $800, right? Or they're charging you by project or by account. So it's actually quite frustrating to price it out. The other big thing though is that it's not, other tools are not tied to solving the problem for you. Like, okay, you have this poor visibility, you have this negative sentiment, you see the cited sources that your competitors have, you see where your citations are missing. Now what? Now you got to fix that, right? You have to do outreach, you have to create trophy content, you have to do guided inquiry induction, you have to do all of these things to improve the shit report that that tool just showed you, right? Well, that's where we're markedly different, is by executing the playbooks that help improve that visibility and sentiment after you understand that there's an opportunity.
That's actually really big, because just doing LLM visibility tracking, okay, great. You can see your visibility. Amazing. But what about doing something about it? And there's no platform on the market. And we're 18 months, 24 months ahead of everyone else out there in terms of the capabilities. We've been building this for 8 years. We have this vision for 8 years that this is what we wanted to do. And so we have 8 years ahead of everyone else, right? In building all the capabilities of our platform. So authority building, being able to tap into those top tier news sites and publish to them, being able to access 50,000 publishers that you can publish to for as little as $30 that have traffic, that are ranking inside ChatGPT and Gemini, Claude, etc. You have all that at your fingertips. No one else has that.
Exactly.
So our offering, the way it works is on growth, you get 2 projects included, pretty much like one per auto project you get for the LLM visibility tool. And in these packages, you get on the growth plan 100 user generated queries that you can plug into the system. That is on top of the 25 or so that we plug in for you automatically for each project. So even if you don't want to use any of your user generated queries, for our guided inquiry framework, we're plugging in a bunch of prompts and queries that we know are important to track the brand's visibility for its core products, for its core service, for some comparisons. So that's how we come up with those 25. So we get a nice wide spectrum signal of ranking and visibility inside LLMs that you don't even have to pay for. And from a data refreshing perspective, we on the growth, you get every 3 days. On Pro, you get it daily, and you get more LLM models as well. So on growth, you're getting ChatGPT, Gemini, and Google, and then on Pro, you get all of them, including Grok, Perplexity.
Yeah. And just to kind of clarify or reiterate what Manick was saying is, when you first create a project inside Search Atlas for this tool, we preemptively create different topics for you, right? So it's typically 5 to 6 individual topics that get created automatically. And each one of those topics have 3 types of prompts that get nested under each top level topic, right? So a topic is something like local SEO automation. A prompt or a query are the things that are being tracked explicitly under the topic level. And what our system will do by default is it'll come up with 3 categories of prompts for each top level topic. So the 3 categories of prompts are going to be branded. Like, does Search Atlas offer Google ads with AI? Yes, it does. Does Search Atlas do LLM tracking? Yes, it does. Those are branded topics. Then it does the competitor comparison, like Search Atlas versus SEMrush, or alternatives to Search Atlas, or alternatives to Bright Local, right? Things like this. And then the third category is brand agnostic, user intent driven queries, like how to choose a local SEO software for multi-location clients, right? So those are the 3 types of queries that get tracked for each top level topic that the system supplies. But then the user can always come in here and hit manage queries and then add new topics. Once the topic is added, they can then add the corresponding queries nested under that. to further enhance those. And you can also upload these if you already have a list from somewhere else.
Yeah, it's really useful because you'll notice some of those questions are branded and not conquesting related prompts. And it's important to know, what does the LLM know about me? When you ask it a question, what does it say, right? And that is a big gap, because a lot of people won't think to put those prompts in. So obviously, like, the part of the logic that tracks and gets the data, like, actually, there's one really unique thing about the way we get this data, is that we're getting it from ChatGPT, not from the API, but from the actual ChatGPT for a pro account. And so there's some important subtleties about how that changes the impact of doing this, from how does it actually impact the rankings or the LLMs, and also the responses that you get. They are different than if you just did it in the API. And so what you're seeing here is actually real. It's true. This is exactly what someone would be seeing if they type this prompt in. Now, obviously, the answers will change from time to time. If we all ask the same prompt today at the same time, we're going to get a different response. But they do kind of normalize around like a central answer. But you'll see that the answers you get here are going to be more reflective of what people are actually seeing.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, lots of fun stuff coming to this, but we'll cover that on one of our other days for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be more stuff here that's launching that we'll cover. Good question. Okay, let's see what else we got. So D. Roger Maeve says, can you review the steps needed to go through research, write, and publish content? So how would they come up with content ideas, generate some articles, and then publish? I think that's a good one that we can answer, just showing the workflow with the playbooks, right?
Yeah, so the fastest way to Manick's point is just with the playbook. So you can actually come in here. Let me share my screen one more time. Okay. So in order to use the agents effectively to run the playbook, you need to have them created as a project, right? Big shocker. You need to have a project created for the system to know who you want to write about.
Yeah.
Now, in creating a project, there are some dependencies, like connecting your first-party Search Console account, your Google Business profile, building a knowledge graph, things like this. To make that process as easy as humanly possible, what we did was created an onboarding agent. So you can access that agent by clicking the app icon at the top right, going to onboarding agent, and then just going through the interactive step-by-step guide to creating your project. If your project's already created, then all you need to do is initiate Atlas Brain, go full screen mode, select the project that you want to work on, go over to content, and then run any of these content playbooks here. And again, it's going to depend on where you are in your website strategy. If you're a brand new website, you have no content on there, it's a thin business that just got created, or it's never focused on content historically, then run this playbook right here called the New Website Content Kickstarter, right? That playbook will do everything from keyword research to competitor research to understanding your local market to referencing your first-party data to referencing your knowledge graph and building the entirety of your content strategy and the content for you within that playbook. If you've already done your foundational playbook and you just need to create more momentum, use the content momentum builder, right? But if you have very specific types of content that you want to be creating, like trophy content for you versus a competitor, or a listicle roundup style, or a review about your product or features, well, pick one of the trophy content playbooks instead, right? So this is going to be the fastest way to do it. If you wanted a little bit more control, you could start your journey by doing a domain knowledge network in Auto, or you could build a topical map in the content tools or in Auto. And once the map's created, you can then selectively create. But realistically, the playbooks are going to be the way to go for this. I would do something like New Website Kickstarter run the playbook, and then just let the system come up with all the recommendations. You provide some guidance, but the system will do 99% of the execution here for you. The only piece that I didn't talk about is how to publish the content. In order to publish the content, Search Atlas needs to be connected to your CMS. So if your site is built with WordPress, you need to have our installed to be able to publish content from Search Atlas to WordPress sites. If the site is not built with WordPress, meaning it's built with a different CMS provider like a Webflow or something similar, then you would connect using the CMS connectors over here, which would be under settings. Let me just minimize this, and CMS connectors, add connector, and then pick your connector here.
Nice.
Is the onboarding agent you showed me the same as the agent found on the homepage? No. The agent on the homepage is Atlas Brain, which is, think about it as your Swiss Army knife agent, right? That can help you block and tackle anything that you want to do inside the application for a project that is already created. But Atlas Brain in and of itself does not create projects for you. You need to use the onboarding agent, which is at the top right of the screen, and the app icon, and it's titled onboarding agent right here. Okay. And just look at what this agent's been doing while we've been talking here, guys. Like this agent from that playbook took all of these steps, right? It understood the business overview. It's understanding the content strategy. It's looking at, it's exposing to you rather, it's keyword research, it's on-page recommendations. It's literally giving you a step-by-step series of instructions of what it's going to be doing. And now it's actually coming in here and creating the titles, defining the keywords, doing all of the heavy lifting that I would have had to do manually with other things inside Search Atlas. But literally now it's all done, and it's just asking me to confirm which content folder it wants to use, right? And then saying, here are 3 pieces of content. Do you want to do 1, 2, or 3, or all of the above, right? So it's literally like, it couldn't be easier to create content at this stage.
So easy. So
that was easy.
That was easy. He says, thank you. Cool. So we got that. All right, let's take a couple more questions. Looking at the time. Okay, so for a USA Today press release, what will be the best bang for the buck? Meaning, what type of press release? So, from a cost perspective, whether it's content format 1, 2, or 3, it's not going to change the cost. It's going to be more from like an impact perspective. So, really, I guess the question is, when we're publishing press releases through Signal Genesis, Arman, what is the most effective content format for the press release is what the question is, I guess.
It really depends on what the goal is of the press release, right? So the way I see it, there are kind of 3 goals that we have when we're doing a press release. Number 1 is to get brand visibility or brand sentiment increased. If that's the case, then I'm going to create content that's more biopic in nature, highlighting the semantic triples of all of the things that represent my business, right? So what is Search Atlas? Who was Search Atlas founded by? Where is Search Atlas based? What does Search Atlas do? What awards has Search Atlas won? The type of stuff that is very clear in the sense that we want an LLM or we want all AI models to know these things about our brand in exactly this structured content format. So for that piece of content is great for building brand sentiment and brand visibility inside AI search results. Then we have this concept of, I want to win in local search, or I want to win for a specific non-branded keyword. That's where the content strategy shifts from being biopic in nature to more topic focused in nature, like best rehab or best addiction treatment marketing company in Miami, Florida. And then I would list out the top 5, highlighting myself as number 1. Or I would go very deep on one of my Search Atlas products or features, like Search Atlas leading in local SEO automation for agencies. And I would go really deep on all of those different features, right? So it really depends on what is the main purpose behind the press release that you're trying to create. Is it to just gain branded visibility, or is it to win on a specific keyword or win in a specific market? And that's going to shift which template I would recommend, essentially.
I think it's a thoughtful approach. In general, I think you need to do all of them. You need to do all
Yeah.
of them. So you need the press release that really establishes the entity